put down on a piece of paper that you just emailed to yourself. Who's your accountability partner? Who is the one person that you know is going to look at you and say, Jessica, did you do what you were supposed to? When we spoke last Monday at 8 o'clock and you had a full week to do that, did you do? No, Rod, I didn't. Well, I did some of it. What do you need to do to make that happen? That's what your accountability partner does. So I want you to think or write down who your accountability partner is, okay? Rob's a great guy, but he's mine. Can't have Rob. Unless Rob says, yeah, I can take on another one. Accountability partners are awesome. Okay, part 2 of this. I want you to think about who your Yoda or Rafiki or John Keating is. Everybody here knows who Yoda is, right? Oh, knowing you should if you don't. Okay, everybody knows who Rafiki is. What movie is Rafiki from? Lion King. Everybody knows who John Keating is, right? One of the best movies ever. Maybe the best movie Robin Williams ever made. Dead Poet Society. If you have never seen Dead Poet Society, it's an awesome movie. Get it out. Write it down right now. Dead Poet Society. Awesome movie. If you don't like it, I'll repay you the $3.99 from Netflix, okay? All right. Everybody needs this. Everybody needs a Yoda. Everybody needs a Rafiki. Everybody needs a John Keating, okay? These are your mentors. The most impactful question I ever faced was from a book of 100 questions. It's just one of those little books that's got one question, you're nodding your head, you got one of those. One of those little books, you've got one question on each page. And I'm flipping through it. I'm in my early 30s, so I've got a couple little rugrats running around. And this one question pops up that blew my mind. The question was, compared to 99 other people your age, how successful are you? And I thought, that's kind of a loaded question, isn't it? Because how am I defining success? I am probably not defining success the exact same way that David Goodman? Gorman, David Gorman. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm getting older. My eyes are getting shot. Kathleen, you need to make the printing on these name tags a little larger, my friend. But David, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, this is kind of how I judge my success. I mean, I was going through everything. I was like, where do I live? What does my house look like? How healthy am I? How healthy are my kids? How happy am I? How much money am I making? What kind of car do I drive? Do I feel in touch with God? I mean, all these things are running through my head. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually pretty lucky. I have 2 parents who raised me in a house. We're total middle class. Both my parents were teachers. But I married up. I outpunted the coverage on that one. Thank you. She's got a sister, if you need a name. And my kids seem to be on the right track, and I'm relatively happy, and we aren't hurting. I was like, I'm going to give myself like 73. I'm doing pretty good, but certainly not as well as other people are. And as soon as I thought that, boom, into my head came all the people who are better than me. And I'm like, but I'm not jealous of these people. I like these people. These people are actually got their act together. They're like what I want to be when I grow up, right? So I was like, well, who could I emulate more? Who could I emulate more? And as I thought about it, it dawned on me that there's not really any one person that I would want to be exactly like. But there are several people who have 1 or 2 particular characteristics that I would really love to be as good as they are as that. Like this guy, Jeff Glock. Don't know if you know him, but Jeff is awesome. I met Jeff back in community college. We went to Essex Community College. Again, back when it was Essex Community College, not CCVC Essex. Whenever the song Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News comes on, I think of Jeff because Jeff had just gotten into weightlifting, and he was getting like developing a bit of a chest and arms, and he's like, the power of love. And great guy though. And Jeff was awesome. Jeff was awesome at coaching his kids, and he was also a really good father. He had 2 kids that were the same age as Colin and Aaron. And it dawned on me, if I want to become a better coach and I want to become a better parent, he would probably be a really good person to talk to. So if I'm at a 73, it's going to be really tough for me to emulate someone who's like a 95. I might not even be able to understand what a 95 is doing. But if I look at someone who's like an 80 or an 83, I could probably take in what it is that they're doing and emulate it and learn from them. So one afternoon, I called him up. I was like, hey, after practice, can you stay after for a little bit? Because he and I coached on the same field. He had one team, I had another team. Like, can we stay after for a few minutes? Show me what it is that you're doing coaching. And he said, yeah, that'd be fine. So that happened. And he taught me a couple of drills to run. And I ran those drills next practice, and it went pretty well. And then he came over after that and he goes, how'd it go? It's good. We started talking about his kids. I was like, how is it that you get your kids to do the things that I can't get my kids to do? And he started explaining to me, these are the rules that we have in the house, and boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, that's kind of a good idea. I might want to steal 1 or 2 of those. Because I found that if you find somebody who does something better than you do and you want to begin to emulate them, it's really easy to ask them, hey, you mind if we sit down for 20 minutes and you can tell me how you pull that off? I guarantee you that 90% of the time the person's going to say yes, because what is the one thing that we like to talk about the most? Ourselves. Oh, Rod wants to learn about how I do this? Sure, Rod. Buy me a coffee. I'll be more than happy to. Flash forward. I'm there with my buddy Pat Maycomer. Pat was my boss, but she also became a mentor of mine. I met Pat. My kids were 8, 9 years old. She had a couple of boys who were a little bit older. Pat had an amazing family life. Very happy with her husband, happy home life. I got to know them very well. At that time, I've got a couple of preteens, and my wife and I weren't going through the best of times. That happens with couples sometimes. And she taught me how she runs her life. She has very specific rules, very specific expectations of everybody, including herself. And while we were at work, when we had a break, I would say, explain this to me. How do you do that? How do you get Ryan to do that? How do you get George to do that? Why do you do that? And I picked up from her those things. And just like I did with Jeff, and learning from him how to become a better coach, and maybe moving up from a 73 to maybe a 76, 78, I did that as being a father and a husband. I think that I kind of went from a 73 to a 75, 78, 80 with that. Fast forward to about a few years ago. I had met this guy, Jay, a while back. Really cool guy. Has his own business. Extremely successful. He has a travel agency, corporate travel agency, based out of Bel Air. Highly recommend you look him up. I've been doing my job. I was then at Hartford Community College. I've been doing it for about 12 years. Loved my job, but I was getting really bored of it. I was good at it, liked it a lot, but I'm like, I need something more. And I started doing kind of what I'm doing now. I started going out, started going to like little talks, and I was playing around with the idea of maybe I'll start my own company. Maybe I'll eventually leave Hartford Community College. And this guy, he was the guy that was like, let go of the side of the pool. You've got this. You have this. You've got the ability. You've got the smart. You've got whatever it takes. And finish that damn book that you keep talking about. Here's a guy who is playing well up into the 90s with running a business and having the confidence to manage a business. And that's what I needed to hear. And in each case, that's what Jeff, Pat, and Jay gave me was confidence, because they were a mentor to me. They were an unofficial mentor that I created for myself by reaching out to them and saying, Jay, got a question about what I should do about this situation. What should I charge these people? Why should I change the book into this direction? Should I join this chamber? Do you have 30 minutes? Can I buy you a coffee? And what did Jay say? Sure. Because what does Jay like talking about? Jay. Just like Jeff talking about Jeff, and Pat likes talking about Pat. Rod likes talking about Rod. You want to buy me a cup of coffee, Larry? I will be more than happy to spend 30 minutes talking to you about whatever it is that I think I know. Soccer. Sure. Larry and I, we go back. No one texts more than Larry. Larry's an awesome guy, though. Check him out. So by having this situation, then you've got to do the pay it forward. That's Ian. That's Jake. That's Kirby. These are young people that I have met that I've recognized. These people want more out of life. They're in their young 20s, trying to get traction. I love working with people in their young 20s. Young professionals trying to get traction. I make time for them. I reach out to them, and I'm like, hey, it sounds like you could use a little bit of help with this. Would you like to sit down? Because they're young. They haven't developed even the confidence yet to ask me for a cup of coffee. They didn't realize that they could ask me for a cup of coffee. And they seem to be happier and very appreciative of the fact that I spend time with them now. I love spending time still with Jeff, Pat, and Jay. They are very meaningful people to me. I still get a little bit from them. And I hope that these people, those three and other people that I work with, get something from me. So I want you to pull out your phone, and I want you to write down the number of the one person you can tag for your personal goal. And I want you to do the same for your professional goal. Go back. If you wrote it down, I want you to take a look at what your goal was. Think, okay, I'm at the 70th percentile on being able to pull this off. Who do I know? Not who's at the 90th percentile, not someone who's 20 steps ahead of you, someone who's 6, 8, 10 steps, someone who you can grasp what it is that they're talking about. Okay? Who is that person? And that's it. Folks, I finally figured life out, I think, about the time I turned 50. I'm like, holy crap, it's been there right in front of me all this time. Really good people, good-hearted people who are better at one particular thing that I want to get better at. And all I've got to do is say, hey, Jessica, I love the way that you do blank. Can we get together for 20 minutes, cup of coffee, and you can tell me about how you pull that off? Guarantee you, 90% of the time, she's going to say, sure, let's set a time. And I sit down, and I pull it out of her. And I pass it on back by working with you. But the mentors also, I should add, the mentors also get something out of this, okay? They may learn something from me because I may be younger than them, so I may be able to teach them something about technology. I may be really good. I might be an 82 in a facet of life that they want to get better at. And I may be able to introduce them to somebody. My wife calls me a serial connector. And I invite you all, if you want to connect, if you want to go into my LinkedIn and find somebody and be introduced, I love introducing, because I believe that if I can help Doug out, if Doug wants to meet somebody in my list, and I pass that on, I not only say, here's his contact information, but I do the introduction on LinkedIn, and I say something positive about Doug, and I say something positive about Ashlyn, that I may get 3 green lights on the way home on Friday afternoon. I just kind of believe in that karma stuff or whatever. So, but that's it, folks. What plagues the world, 80% of it, I think, can be solved by getting yourself an unofficial mentor, whether it's personal or whether it's professional. And that's it.